Okay.
See why you like it? Look at that.
I heard voices there.
What the
So did
heck?
I. What?
What a way to start the video.
Okay.
Hey, who was that?
Who is that? The mystery lady.
Who knows? Who knows?
I
But
think it might be
anyway-
Jake.
Oh my God, Jake!
Jake?
Got something to tell us?
You got a woman in your bedroom, Jake, under that pillow behind you?
Okay, never mind.
Oh, well, what a way to start this episode of Kaiju Connections. That's right, Kaiju Connections, which is dedicated to all things kaiju and giant monster cinema and television. And today's episode is dedicated to a much loved but I think underappreciated classic kaiju film from Korea, and it is of course Yongary,
Yes.
Monster from the Deep. And this is also the original poster, which I quite enjoy as well. But to talk about Yongary, as you can see, we have a host of amazing guests. We have Mr. Daniel Miller, Mr. Big Bad Wolf, the Kaiju Enigma Jake Hall, Ulven, and of course, Jedi Velle. And we're going to start this like we always start these kind of conversations, not question who's got a woman hidden in the room, but questioning, when was the first time you saw this particular film? And we're going to start off with Mr. Daniel Miller.
Okay.
The first time I heard about Yongary was actually when I was looking for The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms on DVD. I was on Amazon and I saw this 2-pack of Konga and Yongary on DVD. I didn't actually get the chance to watch it properly until it was up on YouTube many, many years ago. And my first impressions of it back then was thinking, okay, so one part this looks like a knockoff of Godzilla because it actually feels like it's trying to be a Godzilla clone. Yet, on the other hand, it's just your average run-of-the-mill monster movie, nothing out of the ordinary. But I have been able to rewatch it again recently in preparation for today's video.
Yeah. Big Bad Wolf.
I was around 5 when I first saw this. This was back when I was getting a bunch of Godzilla stuff whenever I was younger because my grandparents, no, not my grandparents, back when I was still living with my parents in Vermont, we had a few Godzilla DVDs, and my father and mother happened to bring this one home. And it was something called Yongary, and I remember putting it in and watching it. And the first thing I immediately liked it just because there was another dinosaur like kaiju similar to Godzilla. So at that time, I didn't feel like it was a knockoff, but I did feel like, oh, hey, it's something that's similar to Godzilla. I can get by this. And then eventually, you see this monster has an array of abilities that's like, it's like they tried to blow the entire budget on giving one monster superpower, all the superpowers of other kaiju. Because later on down the road, as my knowledge of kaiju increased, I noticed one no times Yongary has a roar similar to Gamera. Like when he lets out a cry of pain, that's very similar to Gamera. And we also see he fires a laser beam from his horn, very similar to the Gauss. Because it can slice through helicopters, vehicles, and all that, but he breathes fire like Gamera. Yeah, he's this big hulking dinosaur like Godzilla.
Yeah.
So it's like, in a way, it feels like they're like, crap, they took off our good idea, so here's an idea. Let's try to mash them together and see if it works.
Yes. Jake Hall.
The first time I even heard of Yongary was when I saw a picture of the creature, and I was like, what is this? Interesting. It wasn't until I bought the 2-pack of Yongary and Konga was when the first time I watched it. And I bought the Blu-ray that they released some odd years ago. And then I bought the 4K edition. So the first time I actually watched the film was when I got that 2-pack for Yongary and Konga, and I actually enjoyed it. The dubbing, which we'll probably get into, was fair, but other than that, I enjoyed the film.
Yeah. So, Ulven, when's the first time you seen this film and first impressions?
My first time was today, in fact. My first impressions were this creature is really interesting. It's like what Wolfie said about the creature being a combination of like a Godzilla and Gamera maybe type monster mashed together the powers of both, some of the powers. So it's really cool.
Yeah. And finally, Mr. Jedi Grand Velle.
Well, Yongary, I've kind of known about since like late 90s, early 2000s. It was kind of hovering around there. It's an existence of something like that when you're a kaiju lover. Eventually you will start hearing about films like this, like Gappa or other various, or like Mighty Peking Man. You hear about these things, but you're like, okay, are these just some made up names, or they just screwing with us? So eventually when I did see like a scene of it, I was like, this looks kind of interesting. And eventually I did get to see like a bit of it when I was going to G-Fest in the past. I got to see it back then, but I didn't really get to see it in whole until recently, and I realized, okay, this is like I say, just another basically Korean version, or let's say a Korean Godzilla, if you want to say. You got your Chinese version. You got your probably Australian. You got your English. British. All that. You got your Spanish. I think, but it's showing right there that it's been around for a long time. But I mean, I just never really watched it because I feel like, is this even worth my time watching it? And then like I say, when I did eventually watch it sometime, years later, not recently. I mean, I rewatched it for this, but watching it again during when it was on YouTube for free, I was like, "Huh, this is an interesting story." And the funny thing is, like so many of these films, they always start at a very low key point, and then it just builds up to an extravaganza moment.
Yeah, as for me, my first time watching this was a few years ago. Can't remember the exact year. I can't remember where I watched it, but my first opinion was it was an interesting film with an interesting build, but I don't know if I really liked it or not. It's a film that grew on us through time, and obviously rewatching it today, my opinion again has changed, but more for the positives than the negatives. So let's talk about it. So Yongary, Monsters from the Deep. The Great Monster Yongary is a 1967 kaiju film directed by Kim K-Duke, with special effects by Kenichi Nakagawa. The film was a joint production between South Korean studio Yukidong Entertainment Company and the Japanese studio Toei Company. The film has a host of amazing stars. In the film, a giant reptilian monster lays waste to Seoul after being awakened by an earthquake triggered by a nuclear bomb test. So, Mr. Daniel Miller, do you want to get cracking and start off with this one?
Absolutely. The film begins with the main characters at their wedding. The parents of both of them are there. Emotions are high, as you would expect them to. They then leave, and of course, everyone being cheery, it's a wedding. All of a sudden, they're struck by a sudden desire to itch. This is revealed to be one of the relative's younger siblings, who is a scientist working with another person who's also a scientist, who has developed a machine that has now got this new side effect of making people very itchy when it's been used for too long on them. Afterwards, the honeymoon of the wedded couple is interrupted when Command tells them to get ready to go into space because they're picking up activity in the Middle East being triggered by nuclear tests. This of course triggers an earthquake, and in order to get a good view of what's going on, they send the main character up into a capsule in the lower atmosphere.
So obviously what happens after that, because of the capsule's out in like the atmosphere, and he's kind of patrolling, he's kind of like trying to discover obviously about the atomic testings, these tests. As that's going on, an earthquake is triggered.
Yes.
And when the earthquake is triggered, it's then revealed that it has awakened something. And as the film progresses from that point of, you've got all of the military, the scientists, all of the people who, the government officials kind of investigating how come the epicenter of this earthquake seems to be moving towards the capital city of Seoul in Korea.
Yeah, that's always something to look out for. If the earthquake's epicenter is moving, something is definitely not right.
Yes.
Yeah, because as you know, an epicenter is like where the atomic plate, rub together and bang, it creates a vibrating effect, which then echoes out. And that's how an earthquake's generated, yes. But obviously, even though atomic plate, that they rub together, they cannot like move about like as you can imagine. So obviously, if it's moving, that's something that's kind of scientifically impossible. So they basically know that it's something a lot more dangerous out there, and eventually the epicenter hits a part of Korea. And when it does, there's a man and investigators looking about, and suddenly one of them notices something sticking out of the ground, and it appears to be a reptilian creature, which, as you know, suddenly is named Yongary.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
So
can you say? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, carry on.
No, I just wanted to add. I mean, does it seem kind of similar to something that was done in Frankenstein Conquers the World, where Baragon comes out of the, oil refineries? Someone sees it popping up. It's almost a similar outcome there. I don't know if you know.
I think by this point in the 1960s, from the starting of the boom of big cinematic monster movies, there had been so many movies up to this point that it wouldn't have surprised anybody if a number of upcoming movies took elements from previously created movies. We've talked about it before, like the giant behemoth is very similar to Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. You can see element of Godzilla and Gorgo. So it does not surprise me that there will be elements of other creature films. Like John's already mentioned how basically this is the Korean version of Godzilla. With elements of, say, Frankenstein.
No, I think that was Walker that mentioned it.
Wait, there was it? I mean, I thought it was you.
No,
I thought you mentioned it.
No, I stated that they seem to have made their own Godzilla just by kind of combining characteristics of Godzilla and other kaiju that were already made. Because it was like, oh, they took all the ideas we wanted to do, so let's just combine what's there and see what we come up with.
Well, it's basically what I'm saying is they're basically creating their version of like a Godzilla film via Yongary. And obviously, as the plot progresses and they discover Yongary is in the ground, he finally makes his way to Seoul and breaks out of the ground.
Yes.
Here he is.
In all his glory.
Yes. And the design, so let's go around the room. What do people think of the overall design of Yongary? We'll start with Ulven.
So I really like the design of Yongary. It's fresh, it's unique at the time. I think there's a lot of different kaijus that were emerging at the time as well. I really think Yongary's design would make a cool figure, like an SH Figure Arts or something as a figure nowadays. I think the design's like how you could see like a different kaijus. I could see them doing different styles, but I really think Yongary's design.
You mean a figure like this one?
Yes. He beat me to the punch.
Because I was going to talk about the figures near the end, but as you can see, there is a Yongary figure out there. Thank you to Titanic Creations, who have been doing a fantastic job of basically creating, merchandise and merchandise for and memorabilia for lesser known kaiju. We've had Gorgo through them. We've now got Yongary. We've got Pulpazori, and hopefully we'll get a few more down the pipeline. But yes, they are doing a fantastic job at the moment with their work that they're doing within the world of memorabilia and figures. But so as the plot progresses, Yongary breaks out of the ground and he starts like going through the town, wrecking things, destroying things, and suddenly he comes across like where there's these giant oil canisters, and he starts feeding off the oil. At the same time, you have the main scientist in the government who are trying to figure a way to solve the problem of how to handle Yongary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the premise is pretty much the Godzilla-esque kind of situation. That's pretty much
like any other typical kaiju film. It's pretty much a natural disaster happens. Or they'll do nuclear testing, which invokes a natural disaster with it, which then awakens a creature that's been slumbering for too long and wreaks havoc. So now it's like, crap, what do we do to take care of this problem before we all get leveled flat to the ground again?
Yep.
And then vice versa. It's pretty much the same formula.
Yeah. It's a by the numbers, by the book kaiju flick.
Yeah. So obviously, what's your opinion, Jedi, of the overall design of Yongary?
Well, it's kind of like what was it Big Bad? Yeah, I mean my mind's getting messed up here. No, I mean the design. No, it was Ulven. The design is simple. I mean it's got some kind of homages to like maybe I mentioned Baragon. It's got some, of course, homages to Godzilla. It's actually got some homages to Baru. Well, not Gamera, but Barugon. From the Gamera series. It's got some similarities to that particular creature from Dai Kaiju. So it's a fairly simple Kaiju, but very unique in his own right, and it's like, it's not over the top, but I think it's enough where the money that they had available, they kind of had to come up with something that's, pretty much, decent, and saying that, well, it's something that's people are going to remember, I mean, it's not a bad design. It's actually pretty relevant because it's different from all others. I mean, this is a South Korean kaiju, and like I say, we've had Chinese kaijus and all.
They pretty much based him off of Pulgasari.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's right.
Which is a Korean mythos monster.
Yes.
That's linked to earthquakes.
Yeah. J. Cole, your opinion of the overall design of Yongary?
I enjoyed it. It kind of, when looking at the plates on its back, it kind of reminded me of another kaiju that had similar plates on it. But all in all, it almost looked like it could be aquatic as well because of how its design looks.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, I enjoyed the design and the look of it. I thought it was very unique and all that.
I get vibes of Gorosaurus from the design.
Yeah.
I get like elements of Gorosaurus from the overall look of the design. But
particularly the scale patterns.
Yeah, the scales. As another look at the design. But this is from the
yes, from the Blu-ray.
From the cover. Yes, this is from the amazing 4K cover.
I'm thinking, is that Matt Frank's design or?
Yes, that's Matt Frank. He's the one that has done the artwork for Yongary, and he also did the artwork for Reptilicus.
Yes. Oh, he did. Okay.
He seems to be doing like all of the artworks for Vinegar Syndrome when it comes to the overall kaiju 4K releases. So far, they've done Gorgo, they've done Reptilicus, and now they've done Yongary.
He also did the Tremors 1 and 2. He also did the covers for them as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Did you also do the Arrow Gamera sets as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. It would not surprise me if they release Pulpazori on 4K and he does the work with them as well. If Vinegar Syndrome do get the rights to that as well. Yeah. But as the film progresses and, like you say, as the film progresses, you've got Yongary literally going through the town, through all of
It kind of looks like the early thoughts of a Spinosaurus, of what a Spinosaurus was going to look like.
yeah.
If you take a look at his overall stature and physique and just his posture, that's like the early implications of what a Spinosaurus was thought to be like. Standing upright, that spine, just the way it walked, short snout, until new discoveries came along. So I wonder if part of the design inspiration came from that. Because this is long before Titanosaurus was created by Toho, who was confirmed to be a Spinosaurus.
That's
So
correct.
as you can see, he's literally just going through Korea, just destroying everything in his path, using his flamethrower breath. He also has a unique laser beam attack off his horn, like Big Bad
Gaius.
Wolf said, which is like Gaius. But then as he's going around attacking, he's also basically looking for food. He's just scavenging for food, and that's when he comes across the oil. The government and the military decide to attack him with missiles, with the jet planes, which, as you see in there, is futile. Suddenly, when he gets to the oil fields and he's feeding off the oil, the younger character switches off the oil.
Etrio.
Isn't that where the ammonium powder comes from?
Yes. And then suddenly turns on the ammonium and he sees that it has it's similar to the, obviously he's got that device that makes you itch in his hand.
Yeah.
He notices that Yongary starts to have similar effect because of the gases coming out, which is the ammonium. And he starts scratching and rolling around, and he realizes it has a negative effect. So then he goes back and tells the scientists, who's futilely trying to find a way to help the government and the military defeat, of course, Yongary. And then he's he's trying to, because he can't initially tell him what the gas is. He goes, I don't know what the gas is. So he's trying to do tests and figure out what the gas is. Then he discovers that it is ammonium. So as the plot progresses, they come up with a plan to lure Yongary to a place to then, strike him down. But at the same time, suddenly the young child gets kind of a bond with Yongary. He basically, there's that scene where he chases him and follows him.
Yongary at one point is dancing.
Yeah, he puts music on and Yongary's dancing, and he sees this childlike, experience
doing right there. Yes, he's, it's like, just having
a Kaiju groove on, getting his boogie.
He's like a granddad and a 1960s disco the way he's dancing.
And the funny thing,
drunk uncle at a 4th of July barbecue.
But what I just realized too is the fact that I thought Godzilla was the only one who danced, but I realized no, Gamera has danced in this film, and now this particular kaiju has danced also. So we can say,
we should probably go back to that design, because I didn't realize just how slim Yongary actually is compared to Godzilla and Gamera, who are pretty bulky. Yeah. Especially go back to that first one before you went to that other one, Kevin.
Yeah, these are some of the behind the scenes production shots.
Yeah, that shot right there. At that point, another way that he's very unique is just compared to other kaiju we've seen on screen, even the Ultraman universe, he's super slim compared to the others and build.
He's slim, but he's dangerous though, regardless.
Obviously.
Yes.
One thing I will say that I do like about this film is the production. It has, the Korean studio that made this film did put quite a decent budget in it. I do like the sets, in this image here. Yeah. If you look at the set, if you look at the buildings, the miniatures, and as you see, because that is a slimline suit for a kaiju suit, the fact that they built these large miniatures around it, it actually makes it more effective. It worked well with the suit, and like, you know, the blue screen behind. I think, you know, overall, the production I thought was really well put together.
Well,
Yeah.
It probably allowed for more mobility for the actors themselves, which is why they made it as slim from the material. It allowed the actor to actually full on act like a giant monster without being overrun by the bulkiness of the suit, compared to like Gamma and Godzilla, where the suits are so bulky, it limits the movement you can do, which we especially see in the Heisei era.
That's
well, we
right.
have to remind ourselves too that the effects were done by the Japanese handlers, you know, because I mean the Korean would try and capture the essence of the time of this kaiju phase, you know, but they were the main ones who did the effects. So it's understandable when you see the detail of the miniatures and everything. It's like, well, that's the reason why, because they take great pride in making these things look. I mean, you already know it's fake and everything, but it's so detailed with what they do in the final picture, you know.
Yeah, they have such attention to realism in all of these kaiju movies, especially when it comes to the set designs and the miniatures.
One
and
thing,
just the destruction about it.
Yeah.
there is one element of the plot that I did find interesting, and that is, as you know, Korea has a lot of you know, landmarks, historical landmark, which is through the history of the country itself. And one of the hesitations for the government and the military while trying to defeat Yongary is basically not to damage the landmarks and to try to preserve them and protect them. But in the end, the government and the military come to, you know, an agreement that, you know, they need to protect the people more than the landmarks. And so they decide that they're going to sacrifice the landmarks just to defeat Yongary, which I thought was an interesting take on part of the plot, where they're trying to protect the history of the country rather than the people, which in my opinion for it is like, I know it's not like a massive part of the plot, but I thought it was like an interesting part of the plot. And it's the first time in my recollection that I can remember that being like a, you know, a discussion in a kaiju film. So it's like, you know, seeing Gorgo say, right, are we going to defeat Gorgo or we're going to protect Big Ben? You know, or
Well, that reminds me of like what happened. I think it was Tokyo SOS, where Kiryu wrestles Godzilla and pretty much throws him down through the Capitol building. You hear everyone yell, "No, not the Capitol building!"
But as we've seen in earlier Godzilla films, in Toho, they did not hesitate to destroy the landmarks. Like, remember when Mothra put its egg around the tower, you know, the radio tower in Tokyo?
Or even in Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, when he literally just slapped Tokyo Tower down.
Or again, in the same movie where they just destroyed the financial district in the final battle of Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. That actually is the first time that a Japanese audience cheered at a building being destroyed in a Godzilla movie.
Well, I can understand that. I mean, I probably cheer if I saw the financial district destroyed.
Well, look, I got to say this real quick. You know, when I saw Man of Steel, this is at a time when I was working at Sears. When the Sears store got destroyed in the film, I actually cheered because I hated Sears at this point in time. You know, I mean, I was like, yes, I see a Sears department store getting blown the fuck up, you know, so it was beautiful. But I feel with this, when they mentioned
this is what you get for overworking me, you sons of bitches.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
The fact that I think they're trying to capture, I mean, keep their heritage, you know, the things that they built over time, but they realize the people are the heritage, not the things that they built. You know, I mean, maybe that's the thing they're trying to, you know, realize. It's like, okay, what is Korea or any country for that matter? What makes up England? What makes up America? What makes up Japan? What makes it's the people, not what they've made. It's just the people who have come down and done these things, you know. So it makes sense because I never heard that before myself in any other kaiju film. Now you say that.
Yeah, I just thought I'd bring it up because I thought for a plot device it was interesting to hear. Compared to like previous kaiju films that we've reviewed. But as you know, as the plot progresses, you know, the young boy has a bond, and then finally the scientist discovers that it's ammonium that is the thing that is triggering to Yongary. So they then basically lure Yongary to like this river area where the bridges are, and they use missile fires to do everything in the power, and unfortunately, and I'll be honest, I was quite bummed out by the ending. It's probably, you know, there is a number of kaiju films where the majority of kaiju films, when the kaiju dies at the end, you realise, you know, it's either the kaiju or us. Yes, it's an animal, but it's a large animal. And, you know, like, even though it's kind of upsetting, you know, kind of, it's either them or us. It's like the survival of the fittest. But there was something with the way how Yongary died that I quite, you know, found quite upsetting. So obviously the ammonium is dropped on Yongary, and as it sinks into his skin, it does something to his blood, and unfortunately he lies down to rest, falls asleep, and he bleeds out to death.
And he's known as the monster that pretty much bled from his rectum. Like, if you talk to many fans, they meme on the fact that this is the only monster we see that as he died, he's bleeding from the rectum.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you have those conversations after and even after he dies, there's no kind of like, you know, like even at the end of a Godzilla movie or another creature film, there's kind of a little bit of sympathy when the creature or the kaiju dies. As you know, once you find out Yongary died, they're like kind of walking up like the town hall building, and they're just talking about getting married, and they're laughing and they're carrying on. There doesn't seem to be much sympathy. It felt very.
It definitely felt very abrupt. It's like what happens at the end of An American Werewolf in London when David dies. We see Alex crying, and then it just jumps to this old time 1970s song in the credits.
It's like I found that very off-putting and a bit annoying that there was no like balance. Like a couple of them could have been like, well, I had to end Yongary's life to protect the country, and other people being like, I wish there was another way we could have sorted it out, but I understand why we've done it. And there was even hints at, is Yongary dead? Because the little boy was saying, you know, I've got two wishes. One, that my sister will get married, and the other one is that Yongary was still with us. And they said he fell asleep and he bled, and they're hinting that he's bled out and died, but did he die? And I think if the film had done as well as they wanted, they could have easily did a sequel.
They could have found a way to explain that what probably happened was he went to a comatose state, and his body found a way to stop the bleeding or clot the blood as a defensive mechanism in case this happened.
Or they could have done what they did with Godzilla Raids Again and just basically see another Yongary, another one of his species is out there and it awakens. Because as you know, in Godzilla Raids Again, it's another Godzilla from this Godzilla species that's fighting Anguillus in the Antarctic.
But one thing about the ending though, when they actually bring down Yongary, why is the entire family piled into the helicopter as they're taking down Yongary? It's like, but what is this? Bring your whole family to kill a kaiju day? What?
You know what?
Like the military. That is true. The military, their first objective should be getting civilians to safety. Like usually, what the military would probably do it is there would be a couple of helicopters to help get civilians to safety, whereas the other helicopters would deal with the action at hand.
Well, I have to say, Korean security is bullshit because look at it.
Yeah,
look at it.
Especially that.
The whole family is there watching the opera. Why are they not in the safety zone? What
Well,
is this?
well, maybe because 2 or 3 of them.
Because obviously it was supposed to be a family film.
Of
Very good point.
course.
Yes, there you go. I think John
But
answered
if
that.
you're going to do a family film, teach your children to follow the rules.
Yeah.
Teach
Yeah,
citizens young.
Well, I
you know,
mainly said, well, in all fairness, I said this out of
rule of being
sarcasm.
citizens, not let's fucking dance with a kaiju. Let's get a machine that fucking itches the driver of a moving vehicle and could potentially make him crash off the side of the road down a mountain path.
Look, we've seen Gamera films, and you already know the kids do not abide by the rules. So I mean,
No.
they're saying like, well, hey,
Because Gamma is the toucher of children.
there you go, you know, and they say, and like I say, when he beats Zegra with that chicken shaped rock on
He
Zegra's
basically castrates him.
yeah, and then he starts to do the dance and say, "Yes, I'm doing this." You know, it's like that's what you got to do. You know, so
Oh, I remember that. I remember watching that with that Science Theater version where they're just literally commenting the heck out of that moment.
yeah, so
And that made it so much better.
Yeah. But then in Zegra, he literally turns him into an organ, like he's just playing the Gamera themes with Zegra's gills.
yes,
Oh, I remember that.
that's so I'm like. Because again, like I say, chicken shaped rock. I mean, where the hell did he get the rock from? He's like just randomly there. It's like I'm just gonna pick it up and.
Well, maybe off screen, Gamma used his blue fire breath to shape it into a chicken-sized shaped rock.
Maybe he just went to KFC.
Yep.
He wanted some Kentucky Fried Shark.
Okay.
Yep.
I will say this though: when it comes to Ziggurat, his design and Rebirth is better than his Showa era design, 100%.
Yeah.
And he's a lot more threatening in Rebirth.
Yes.
One thing I didn't like is they made Zigra talk.
Yes. Before we go on to other stuff, I want to talk about a little bit of the production of Yongary. So the screenwriter originally intended for Yongary to be, now this is interesting, a single-cell organism from space that mutated into a giant monster after exposure from radiation. Now that brings me to this.
Yes, I remember seeing this.
I remember this too.
Because as you know, in 1998 or 1990, it must have been there to capture on the recent release Godzilla 1998. They decided to do a co-production with Korea and I think America of a remake of Yongary, but I believe it originally wasn't called Yongary when it was first released.
In USA, it was called Reptilian. They changed it to Reptilian.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say, I think
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Actually,
As they still kept to the monster's name of Yongary, but in America it was changed to the name of the film was changed to Reptilian.
Yes. But obviously, you know, as the original screenplay said, it was meant to be this alien organism that eventually evolved into a giant monster. Now, if anyone's seen the 1999 version, that's exactly what kind of happens.
Right.
It's an organism that evolves into a monster, and he actually fights an alien monster at the end of the film. So
well,
the
you do know that Hedorah, that's exactly what Hedorah was. You know, it was a space organism that was from space that mutated into that sludge-like creature. You know, I don't know if you know this.
And what's real funny was when I first watched it, I didn't realize Hedorah was a space monster until I read in a book, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so he's a space monster. Nice."
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I find this interesting as well. Kyudong Entertainment Company employed staff from Equidus Productions and Toei's special effects staff to helm the film's effects. Masao Yaji, who built the Gamera suit for Dai, supervised the construction of the Yongary suit. The character was designed in Korea while the suit was built in Japan, based on the Korean team's design. Director Kim K-yuk found that the suit lacked terror and was disappointed with the final result, but proceeded to film with the suit since there was no time or money to produce a new suit. An optical printer was used for a few compromission shots. Akira Suzuki designed the mechanical miniature props.
Mhm.
So I find that interesting that even though it's a Korean film, they actually built the suits in Japan.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you noticed this little detail. I mean, it's so obvious. The suit where it can breathe fire, but if you ever notice is when his mouth is wide open, you see that obvious pipe or whatever hole coming out of his mouth where the fire is extinguished coming out of there. Yeah, I mean, you see the hole that is extinguished from, and I'm just like, wow. I mean, y'all could make that more obvious, but I mean,
Yeah,
I think that's
that's clearly like a head prop
Mhm.
Yeah.
on like a pole with the pipe sticking through. That's doing the fire effect.
Yeah.
But back in the day, that was practical effects. I'd rather have that than some of the bullshit CGI that we get to the day.
Because I feel that was the charm of that, of the making of it. Yeah.
But as I was going to say, thanks, with Yongary, it's a film that I had only seen maybe once. The first time I didn't really have a memory of it.
Mhm.
The second time I watched it, I remember seeing it but having indifferent feelings of it. Now that I've watched it again, I generally think it's an underrated kaiju film that has great production design. The plot is your basic kaiju invasion story that we've had before. I sympathise with the creature near the end of the movie. And I think as time has progressed, originally it was seen as a negative film. I think for a lot of kaiju fans, but as time has progressed, I generally think it's become a cult classic. And because of its popularity and its growth over time, as you've seen and where you've displayed, we have the 4K release by Vinegar Syndrome with this amazing art by
And then we have Titanic Creations with what they're trying to do with their product.
Yeah, so Titanic Creations. This is Dope Pope, I believe he's the designer of the figure. This is his CGI model. He basically created the model that eventually became this amazing figure, which I never purchased. Now I'm starting to regret
And
purchasing.
they are in the process of trying to make the graphic novel to Yongary, and if there's much success with it, their future hopes is to pit Yongary against Gorgo and even Yongary against Pogosari.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
And they want to do a graphic novel of Yongary versus Gorgo, even Yongary versus Pogosari, and they want to also do an animated short film featuring either of them.
Nice.
I do know, like way back a few years ago, when they did Gogo and they got the licenses to produce figures and merchandise for Gogo, they said the same thing. They said, we would love to create the Gogo figure if all goes well. We'd like to do a graphic novel. So they've been successful with the figure. They were successful with the graphic novel.
And the graphic novel is really good. I actually got to read through the graphic novel.
Yes.
It's pretty
There
good.
he is.
Another man design.
No, this is by I think his name is Tom Arts. He did this commission a long time ago of Gorgo versus Yongary.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
So obviously Gogo has had, not only did it get its figure release, a graphic, it also got a large statue made as well by Titanic Creation. So it would not surprise me if they eventually did the graphic novel for Yongary, and they released a 30-centimeter statue. Follow the pattern they did with Gogo, and of course they also have the right to do merchandise for Pulpazari. And as you know, when Titanic Creations first started, they started with their own comic book, which was the Soul Wars, which features Titanicus and a host of original kaiju, and apparently the Gorgo graphic novel that they created was a prequel to the Gorgo movie, and it's all tied in to the Soul Wars universe. So if all goes well, we'll get a Yongary comic book that will also tie in with the Gorgo comic book and the Soul Wars comic book, and we'll get this new kaiju universe, which is showcasing these underrated kaiju that don't really get enough attention or talked about.
Well, can I say something about that? This is what makes me wonder, why weren't these films, these creatures back then given much love as they are now, because someone along the line, someone said there's some real genuine, love for these things. And it's like they didn't get the love that they did back then. I mean, they got made, but somewhere along the lines of years and neglect and everything, it's like they just piss it through the wind. You think like
Well,
that happens. You don't get
the
that.
answer, I think, to your question is very simple: the MonsterVerse. It's thanks to what started way back with, I think, what really got interest in seeing if kaiju could be popular again after many years was Cloverfield. Was an experimental lost footage film. If you think about it, back in the day, it was the era of lost found footage films. You had everything from horror movies to other movies. We had never had a found footage kaiju movie, so they created Cloverfield. That did extremely well. Then after Cloverfield, of course, we then got Pacific Rim and Godzilla 2014. And as you know, Godzilla's now back at the forefront thanks to Shin and -1. And because all eyes now are on the world of kaiju after so many years, there's people now are looking beyond Godzilla, beyond Gamera, beyond the main 2 or 3, Kong included. They're now looking for other kaiju that basically may not have had the attention they did before, and now they're getting it. And Titanic Creations is at the forefront alongside all the comic book writers and memorabilia and toy companies at bringing us content and merchandise for these long lost characters that deserve to shine again. And
it brings me up to I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hopefully, I don't think we're going to get new movies featuring these characters because I don't know if they're popular enough to take the chance on, if that's what you were going to ask. But I think going down the route of creating a new kaiju universe, but in the form of the comic books, graphic novels, is the right way to go. One, it's cheaper, and also within the pages of a comic book, you can do anything.
Or a manga too. I mean,
I was gonna say,
because I just bought a new manga series not too long ago. I'm not gonna pronounce the full name because I'll just butcher it. But the other end is like the Gigantus, and it's a kaiju manga, which looks very interesting. So,
and if you think about it, manga never really did kaiju. I know we had Kaiju number 8, which is now an animated series in anime. Now got, for the very first time in Japan, there is now a kaiju, a Godzilla manga comic book that is available, which I don't know if they'll ever release over here. So as you can see, the effects of the MonsterVerse, the effects of Shin, the effects of course, -1 have definitely put kaiju bang on the map.
Well, I'm just hoping that with this, like I say, where we're talking about this particular almost lost classic, because we've only seen the the dub version. The Korean version cut of this film is practically lost, but hopefully in time they will dig up some older ones from other countries that are kaiju related and bring them to the forefront and say like, oh, this has been around for years. We just never gave it that much love. Hopefully they'll do that. I'd like to see that.
Well,
Well,
like I say, Titanic Creations is doing a great job, and then, like you say, he's holding it up. Look at Vinegar Syndrome. They have brought
Yeah.
a Gorgo, they have brought a Reptilicus,
oh
they
yeah.
brought the Yongary. Hopefully, they will bring us Pulpazari, and I'm hoping that they'll bring, Gappa could be next. I do know that I've seen an interview with the guy who is runs Titanic, and he has been trying to get the rights to Gappa, but the people that have the right to Gappa are playing hardball.
Figures.
And apparently he tried to get the rights to Reptilicus to do a Reptilicus figure, and he's just give up because the people that hold the right to Reptilicus are just demanding too much.
It boils down to money.
Don't expect the Reptilicus figure anything, but Gappa, fingers crossed, that would be the one I would probably get, because as you know, I told the story that my grandfather had the VHS of Gappa, and it was one of the first films I seen outside of that, The Beast of 20,000 Fathoms, but it was like one of the earliest kaiju films outside of Godzilla I had seen.
And what's real funny too is on this 4K edition, because it comes with both 4K and Blu-ray. On the Blu-ray, they salvage what they could of the original negative for the Korean film of Yongary. But if you try to watch it, you can tell that they couldn't transfer it in good condition, and you'll see like static and all of that. So I was trying to watch it. I was like, I'll just stick with the dubbing.
Right.
But I give them props for trying at least.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, final thoughts and ratings. We'll start with my good friend, Mr. Jedi Grand Velle of Yongary.
Okay. Well, let's be honest. I mean, is it a perfect film? No. Is it a fun film? Actually, it is. It's very well made. Because it shows that someone had the willpower to say, let's make something of our own in our own setting where we're at and make it worthwhile. I have one little gripe about this film, and it's a moment in the film where the scientist is rescuing this woman, and when Yongary is creating havoc and everything off screen, it looks like someone's throwing a piece of debris after the guy, and it hits him in the shoulder. I'm just like, we're experiencing flying rocks, cement, or whatever. I mean, it's like it's been thrown off camera. I'm like, come on now, you gotta give me a break with that one, But I guess you had to work with what you had, though. But all in all, the rating for this film, I would definitely, and it's definitely a rewatch because it's a very short film. It's only 80 minutes long. I'd definitely give this film at least a 7 in my book.
I think that's fair. Ulven?
I gotta go an 8 out of 8. An 8 for me. I think the creature is really well done. I like Yongary as a character, as a kaiju. It's really unique, fresh, cool at the time. I would like, if like Wolfie said, that I would like them to expand the universe of Yongary maybe in the future. Do the comic, do the manga. I would like to see that from Titanic if possible. I mean, there's so much you could do with Yongary if you think about it. If it works correctly well, you could have them out there with more stuff.
In a dream world, I would like to see this, but I don't know if I will.
Like you say, in a dream.
That would be a good battle, and just seeing them two figures together, like the Showa era figure of Yongary and, of course, the 1972 Godzilla, they look perfect together.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really look good.
Jake Hall.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique film. I did enjoy it. The dubbing is a hit or miss. I mean, you can tell that they kind of missed some marks on it. But all in all, it was a good film. Loved the design of Yongary. I like most of the storyline. Ending was kind of. So, all in all, I give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. Big Bad Wolf.
Well, from what I was able to see right before we got on, I do notice a bit from J. Cole's comment that, yeah, there were times that the dubbing was definitely a bit off here and there. I'd say the premise of the story was good. I mean, of course, it's a typical kaiju blueprint. I mean, back in that time, that was the only way to make a kaiju appearing and wreaking havoc seem very reasonable, or I should say, believable. The design was pretty good. You can tell like they were trying to come up with their own design, but it was hard because so many of the good ideas were already taken, so they had to work with what they could muster up. And I mean, because of that, he became a pretty memorable kaiju just by the looks of him and everything. I'd say everything else, yeah, some of the effects, I mean, back in the 60s, they don't exactly hold up to this day, but as we mentioned before, the production had to work with whatever budget they would give him, which wasn't much. So, like War 2, I'll give this a 7 out of 10.
Daniel Miller.
Being able to look back on Yongary, this being the second time, I appreciate it for what it is. It's a low budget, by the numbers kaiju romp, which does have a feel good vibe to it. It's an interesting, very simple, but also very interesting creature design, and the production values, considering the budget that they were working with, are very good. The problem I'd say with this movie is very much in the storyline. It feels rushed, disjointed, and at some points feels like different drafts were pulled apart from one version of the story, then put together into another. Like, for instance, with Yongary originally being a space originating creature, I did kind of get that from the sections of the movie where the main character went up into the space capsule. As for ratings, I'd say this, for me, would be a 6 out of 10. It's not a terrible movie. I mean, it's not bottom of the barrel, cheap, whatever. It's very, very well made. Directing is, for the kaiju sequences, is actually pretty good. The dubbing, as Jake said, it's hit and miss. Now, I mean, what else can I say? It is what it is. It's not that long a film, 80 minutes, like Walter said. It's a kaiju movie that does feel like a family-oriented film, and it does have some, albeit unintentionally, funny parts. But it is worth a rewatch every now and then. So I'm not going to dismiss it as anything more than that. It's, again, a Godzilla imitation, but it does have something genuinely unique about it. So for me, a 6 out of 10.
As for me, I think, like I say, I think originally when it came out, and I think it had a mixed bag. People either liked it or didn't like it. As for me, it's grown on me through time. I love the production value in the film. I think Korea really did the very best with what they had. I think, they really tried. I understand the plot isn't anything new. It's pretty much your basic kaiju who awakes and wreaks havoc and is killed plot that we've had many times from other kaiju films, but they tried to put their own stamp on it. My irritation, like you said, it's with the human characters. You get a lot of plot points where you'll get a group of human characters, and there'll be like this divide. Some people are adamant to just go out there and damn kill the thing. Some of them are like, let's try and save it. There's always kind of like that moral divide or compass. In this, it was like the humans didn't give a shit. Like the aftermath after Yongary is literally killed, and they're like walking up the steps up to the town hall, and they're like smiling and cheering,
They're
and
laughing.
there was like no kind of, have we done the right thing, or yes, I know what we've done, but we've had to do it to save the people. It just felt very off-putting for me. It was like, these are probably the most disliked human characters I've had in any kaiju film. So that kind of puts me off. As for the story itself in the film, I like the character design. I think Yongary, is a decent looking kaiju. I like his abilities. I think they could have done more in terms of showing more of the destruction he delivers in the cities. Because I know we get a bit of it, but I think, when compared to other kaiju films, they could have done a lot more with the destruction element of what he delivers, especially with the kind of powers he had.
Yeah.
But in all, it's a fun film. It's a cult classic, and it's grown on us, and I think it's grown in popularity. And I would like to see more more Yongary in the future, alongside Gorgo potentially. So I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. And one more fact I'll just quickly say that it was released in Korea, obviously in 1967. And when it was released, there was only 570 cinemas or screens in the whole of the country, and it made 150,000. Okay. It made 150,000 on the screens, which is considered a success. So, it did do well.
It delivered.
It delivered. So I would say hopefully we'll get more Yongary in the future. But as always, this has been a fun discussion. It's been a different kind of discussion because I think we've all had different views and opinions on this film. Like I say, it's a film that's kind of got a divide in the kaiju universe, but it's also a film that's become a cult classic and has grown in popularity. So let's talk about what's coming on Kaiju Connections next. Because next month we're going to stay in Korea. Because we're going to have to talk about this one.
This is a very interesting particular kaiju.
You have my attention.
Especially if you know the history behind the film.
Oh my God, yes. There is yes.
There's quite an interesting history behind that film.
Yes, I know about this one.
Yes, and we're going to end the year because we're heading into 2026. And we cannot wrap up 2025 without celebrating this particular kaiju.
Yes, our favorite Ninja Turtle.
When is that one?
I'll let you know soon, Ulven.
Yes.
That's gonna be a fun one. Gamma needs to be as celebrated as Godzilla.
60 years, man.
Yes, we did a 70th anniversary special for Godzilla. We also did a 10-year anniversary special for the Monsterverse. So we'll have to wrap up the year with talking about the Flying Turtle.
Yes.
The guardian of children, the guardian of the universe, Gamera.
Yes.
But that is just a little sneak peek what's coming on Kaiju Connections. And then, of course, we're going to start the new year with something else, which I'll talk about in time. But what's coming up on your channels for the rest of this month? We'll talk to Mr. Jedi Grand Velle.
Okay. As far as on my channel, coming next Sunday, me and Anubis will be teaming up, discussing a very, I ain't gonna say underrated. I think it's just a very, it's one of those 80 treasures that I think doesn't get as much love, but it's there. We're going to be discussing a film, To Live and Die in LA, which I feel is, like I say, it's just one of those rarities of 80s action pictures that needs to be talked about.
Is that the one with Kurt Russell?
No, that's not the one with Kirk Russell.
Oh,
This is
that's Escape. That's Escape
that's
from
Escape from LA. Yes, that came out in '96. Believe it or not. And now that this one stars William Peterson and a very young William Dafoe. That's who stars in it. So if you ever get a chance, you ought to check it out because it's one of those rarities. Let's just say it's one of those films that I don't think gets enough love, as the saying goes. And later that week, I will be doing my part two of my favorite top 10 movie explosions, which I feel like if you did it once, you got to do it again. So,
or do it even a third time.
Or even do it a third time. I'll see how it goes with this second one. I mean, if it's just as good, I will do it. I will do it again. I mean, you got to do it.
Or like a bang now and then. Well,
there you go. I mean, it's like Lay's potato chip. You just can't eat one. So yes.
Or like these Milano cookies.
Is that right?
Yep.
Ulven, what's coming to your channel?
So what is coming to my channel? We have the Henshin Revolution podcast. I gotta work the outro for that eventually soon. I'm thinking of doing a couple surprise live streams this week of more of Marvel Spider-Man. I'm working on a project for the Silver Screen Savants for the 007 because we are in 9th. We are covering ranking the Bond franchise, all the films. So that'll be fun. In fact, on Sunday later, me and Anubis are covering Octopussy, the Roger Moore film. We have Henshin Revolution podcast for the Kiter stuff in the future. And then Henshin Highlight is the lore stuff that we covered. We also have Unboxing Comics. Me and Gojira have a series eventually. Talking Killer Croc is the first episode for that. And also Gears of War Reloaded, me and him will resume.
Oh, nice. Big Bad Wolf, do you have anything coming to your channel?
So I may try to hopefully get some kind of recording done for the Dino Blade demo that came out on Steam. For those that don't know, this is a game that started out as a meme of this guy that made 3D animation renditions of dinosaurs with weapons, just waving them around. And the title character to that game is a Spinosaurus with a large sword similar to Cloud Sword from Final Fantasy. And it's pretty much like a Souls-like action RPG where you play as a Spinosaurus and you find other dinosaurs with weapons. And so I may try to do another second go-around to try to see if I can get some gameplay from that demo and do my own little first impressions on it because that creator deserves some love. This is the same guy that did the combat design for Ghost of Tsushima. And he's developing this entire game by himself. So he definitely deserves some love and recognition for doing this because this was literally a passion project for him. Mm-hmm. And then also, I may try to do some Helldivers collab with Anthony Jordan, and then eventually Anthony and Orphan when he finally gets the game. And then also, eventually, you and I will have a collab whenever the Gamma Reboot DLC comes out to Gigabash.
I think that's coming out on the 20th of this month.
Oh, crap. If it is, then I won't be able to play that weekend because I have inventory at work that weekend. Okay. All hands on deck that entire weekend.
I'm sure at the 20th of this month, the Gamma Rebirth comes out.
Yes,
like the collaboration.
Is. I need to get Gigabash myself.
Well, I'm going to start doing, hopefully, if I can sort this shit up, I'm going to start doing like the odd little gameplay with Gigabash. Just to get it started in the streaming of gaming, because I've never done anything like that before.
Again, I would go and ask Anubis because he has more experience with doing that.
You're expanding your world there, Kevin.
I sure am. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely November the 20th. It comes out. I've just seen, and apparently the 3 characters that are on the new DLC. It's obviously the Gamera from Gamma Rebirth. It's Zigra and Guron. Which I'm looking forward to playing Guron because he's probably one of my favorite kaiju within the Gamera rebirth.
Right.
I definitely look forward to playing as Gigan against him because that'll be a fun fight.
Well, I've always said Guron is Gamera's version of
Gigan.
Gigan. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm
Daniel
hoping. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Is there anything coming to your channel?
Yes, I do have some interesting developments coming to my channel. I'm doing some more short stories. I'm also going to be starting the pre-production on the Aliens versus Predator retrospective. And on the story front, just earlier today, I had one of my short stories broadcast on a radio station in Huntingdon, which
I heard
over
it.
the next few
It was really
days
good.
I plan to bring to my channel. So yeah, do keep your eyes and ears open for that, and more stories coming along in the future.
Mm. And if any of you guys in the US have the opportunity to go on to the radio station website, that because that's where I listen to it.
Yeah,
go on to
it's
the
Ooze Valley Radio, and the stories, they're broadcast every Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m. GMT time.
Okay.
So what time?
and of course, as he's mentioned, his short story was played on the radio, which was a really interesting listen. I will say that because I told him I was going to listen to it bang on 5 p.m. today, UK time, and I did. And it was interesting.
What'd you think?
I thought it was really well written. I thought it was really well. I thought the story was well written. I thought as well how he narrated his own story was really well done. So well done, Mr. Miller. Keep it up. I want to see you on the radio more.
It makes me wonder now that he's only in his 20s, what his voice will sound like as it emulates to a very more ominous and deeper sound. You know, I mean, I'm just wondering because if it does, like, oh yes, this is definitely what I want to hear. You know,
maybe it would sound like
since
this.
you've already mentioned it, and you've already mentioned Alien versus Predator, I did also want to mention that coming this month on the Entertainment Headquarters.
Yes, I was gonna say, didn't we say?
Oh yeah,
We are going to be doing the Predator franchise special.
Oh yes, yes.
So
yes.
that will not include the Alien versus Predator films because I feel as if they're their own thing.
Yes.
I want to focus on simply all the Predator movies.
Well, speaking of Predator, will you be doing a review of Predator Badlands by chance? If you get a
I've
chance?
already got my ticket booked to see it in theaters.
Because I'm going to go see it this weekend, this coming Saturday myself. So yes.
Yeah, well, if you want to jump on and do the review with us, Walter, you're more than welcome.
I think I will because I want to give my 2 cents of this film because it's one of those PG-13 kind of situations, but maybe this film has actually got a good story.
Well, when we've both seen it, we'll pick a date and we'll sort that out.
We'll do that. Yes.
But as for Mr. Jake Hall, I know you at the moment don't do your own channel, but as you know, you are always welcome on Kaiju Connections or any of the streams yet on the Entertainment Headquarters. So if you want to be on any more of them Kaiju streams or the Predator one, just let me know.
Oh yeah, I don't mind doing the Predator. I actually enjoyed the Predator, and just like you, I'm gonna go see Predator Badlands probably Thursday.
Cool.
So
yes. So anyway, everyone who's watched today, thank you so much for watching tonight's Kaiju Connections, Yongary. As you've seen, there's a lot more coming to the Entertainment Headquarters. Please like, share, and subscribe if you would like to. And please like, share, and subscribe to each and every one of my amazing guests' channel. There's some great content out there from these guys. But as my good friend, Mr. Walter Ross, always says, keep the Kaiju love alive, and we'll catch us all at the next one.